Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Thornton. I create short videos with simple instructions related to Sage Intacct ERP software. This is a video that explains statistical accounts. We get started with a quick PowerPoint presentation to familiarize you with the lay of the land before demonstrating the product live. It's also a reference copy if you want to try to deploy these different functionality. So in this particular PowerPoint, we have 5 distinct steps. We're going to demonstrate how to add a statistical account, how to update that statistical account with a journal entry. Once we have data, then we want to then see that statistical data on a dashboard report. So in step 3, we'll create a GL account group to add to the dashboard report in step 4. And then in step 5, we're going to show a second example of to use those statistical account groups to in calculations on dashboard reports. Okay, so to add a statistical account, we start at the home page. To the right is the application drop-down. We select General Ledger, focus in the first column at statistical accounts. I like to start at looking at what is existing as far as statistical account to stay consistent and uniform. So once I have a lay of the land, I can use the button at the far right corner to add a new statistical account. Below is, to the left, is the blank screen where you add a new statistical account. You'll notice that you have 2 required fields. You know that by the red asterisks. So you assign an account number and a title. To the right is a completed statistical account setup. We have assigned the account number S105. The prefix S tells the end user it is a statistical account versus a GL financial account. The title is student count. Below, we say the report type is a cumulative balance. It behaves like a balance sheet versus the alternative selection, which would have been for the period that behaves similar to the statement of activities or your profit and loss statement. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I usually ignore the quick start categories, and my alternative functionality or preference is the GL account groups, which we'll be demonstrating. Below is active versus inactive status, and then whether when you enter a transaction or any of the dimensions required. And in this case, we've marked department. So after we've set up the statistical account, below on the menu is where you create your statistical journal entry. When you create your journal entry, you select your journal, and then there's no practical limit to the number of user-defined journals, and it's just a way of organizing your journal entries. Below is the description. It's a required field, and a month entry seems sufficient. To the right of your journal is another required field, and that is the posting date. Otherwise, the fields are optional, your comment, attachment, or reversal. Now, below is where you have your entries, and you select your statistical account, any of the required dimensions, and then for the period or the end of period, you increase or decrease. Once you have your data, now you're ready to create your GL account group so that you can format this account group onto your financial report. And so when you are creating your GL account groups, you have several different types. You have groups of accounts, you have group of account groups, and now we're introducing a third selection, which is statistical accounts. And the only difference in setting up your statistical account groups is that you select as your structure type statistical accounts. And then below, you specify which of these statistical accounts you want to add to your group members. In our case, we have statistical account 400 through 470. Now, on our financial report, we have, and we'll demonstrate this in just a minute, but we formatted this group, and here is the listing of those statistical accounts and the balances for the year 2023 compared to year-to-date 2024. And you add those GL account groups to your financial report row. And if you have need more information about the financial report writer, please refer to my video library, either on my LinkedIn page or YouTube channel. So on the left-hand side is our toolbar, and we have our rows. Once we've selected our row, now we define our rows and we select our account groups. And this is the interface where we've selected 2 account groups that we're going to demonstrate in just a minute the results of selecting our financial account group for personnel and then our calculation, taking those personnel costs and dividing them by our ending balance for the month for our full-time equivalencies. Okay, so this is where we're setting up our account groups, and we have those 3 account group types. Our personnel, or just a group of groups of accounts. We're going to see the results there. And then we have our statistical accounts, and instead of listing those, we're going to use them in a computation. And that computation, again, it's just the same process of setting up these GL account groups. We want the header. What is the display for the header? What is the display for the total line? And then below, the structure type. And in this case, we have 2 variables. And the first variable is our personnel cost divided now by our statistical account for balances for our full-time equivalency. And the results is in the screen print. We'll demonstrate this in just a moment, but above we have our financial results, and then below is the average cost for full-time equivalency for salaries, 137,000 for January 2025 versus January 2024, it was 122, and so forth. So that completes our PowerPoint presentation. Here's my contact information, the final slide, and then we'll come over to our application live demo, and I'm on the home page and focus to the right, drop down list, and I'm going to select General Ledger. I default to the All tab, and I'm going to select our statistical accounts. And here is our statistical accounts. I'll look at our S105 account, which is our student count. Here is our cumulative balance instead of for the period. It's active, and the required dimension is department. Now we'll go over to our journal entry for our statistical accounts. We'll view our transactions. We could edit this and duplicate it, or select it and duplicate it, but let's edit. And you'll see that we had already selected our journal, so we'd assign the next number. Some of this is all default. We have our description and our posting date. That's our header. And then below is our detailed line item. We don't have any debit or credit relationship, but we do have our selected of our different statistical accounts, the assigned department, the location, and whether for the month of October 2024, was there a decrease or a increase? Okay. Now, let's go to our account groups. And we're still on the general ledger. We're on the Alt tab. We're focused on the center column and then account groups. And we'll go down to our personnel. So in our personnel, we have a group of account groups. We have salaries and wages, taxes and benefits, staffing services, training and development. Then in our FTE, statistical account, we have one member. Okay. Now we take the two and we have a calculation. And we know that right here as we have our personnel per FTE, and we can tell by our group type, it's a computation. So let's edit. And you see, once we have our structure type, then we have our two variables. Our personnel cost divided by our final balances for that period of time of FTEs, full-time equivalency. Let's see the result. We go to our statement of activity. And here are each of our financial balances for the period February 2025 compared to 2024. Our total personnel cost, and here's our average cost for each of these classification by our full-time equivalency balances at the end of February. We could go back to January and apply our dashboard filters. We could do the same for department, location, and projects to get down to maybe there's only one location where we have this variance of 14,000 from last year. Now, if we look at the component, this is our financial report, and I'm going to edit the report using the tool at the far right, which is our edit this report. We're in the hotkey into our financial report writer. On the left-hand side, we're going to go down the toolbar to the second choice rows. We select our account groups, and here's where we've selected our personnel account group and then the calculation. Okay. Now, before we're done, I want to show one more thing. I'm going to take those same statistics and throw them against occupancy. Now we have our different groups of or subgroups of our occupancy cost. And then we have below the full-time equivalency average for each of these classifications. And that completes our video. If you found it of value, please hit the like button. If you want to contact me, see the final slide of the PowerPoint presentation to learn more about Sage Intacct, see my library of videos, either on my LinkedIn page or YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for your time and for viewing.